Yes guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video and welcome to a very early morning, if you can tell I still look half asleep, in Reading. That's right, I am down here with work. There is my Newcastle hat that I had on a minute ago because it's freezing. Yeah, down here for a few days. I'm actually heading over to London shortly, so I'm doubling it up with heading to the Brentford game tomorrow, hoping to see another great performance from the Toon after what we saw on Wednesday night. Honestly, I'm still slightly buzzing. We didn't even win. We should have won, actually. You could argue that disappointment from not getting the goals, refereeing decisions. I mean, Liverpool had a few chances as well. But what a performance. It felt like we have obviously won some great games this season. We beat Arsenal, beat Chelsea. But it felt like the season where we were unstoppable, where we got Champions League and we were beating teams like 4-0, just like taking risks, taking chances. I think a lot of people came out of that game, like the first time in a while I've come out and gone, wow, and we want to keep that run going. I'm up that early. Eddie Howe hasn't even done his pre-match press conference yet, so it'll be interesting to see what he has to say. Obviously, Isak was on fire. I thought Tonali did fantastic in the middle. And this is all building up to the second half of the season. You know, it is December, it is freezing, it is almost Christmas. It's going to get very, very busy. And where Newcastle finish this season is going to be key, I think, as to how we get on throughout the rest of this month and then on into the January window. Eddie Howe hasn't, hidden away from the fact that we haven't really, I think it's kind of talked about that we haven't done anything in the last two transfer windows. We did, we brought in Lloyd Kelly, who hasn't looked great. We brought in 7 goalkeepers. Eddie Howe has spoken about the fact that he thinks not bringing in something to really add to the squad has made the squad feel stale. He hasn't hidden away from that. I think there's big pressure on Paul Mitchell to see what he can do this window. And a very interesting article from Mark Douglas at The Eye has spoken about the fact that Newcastle need to get something done this January window, and with conversations on, having to sell to spend. I mean, look at the Liverpool game. Appreciate that we really held our own in there, but they brought on, £70 million Szoboszlai. They brought on Trent Alexander-Arnold, who I thought actually really helped them when he came on. I know obviously he's a homegrown talent, but if you were to sell him in the market, what are you getting for him? 50, 60 million? It's great that we didn't want to bring Almiron on because I think we want to sell him this window. Barnes did come on. He's someone we're going to talk about in this video. Reports are that Newcastle are considering, or are certainly listening to offers for the man we literally just brought in, a year and a half ago. Was it even that long ago? Yeah, that's right. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Should Newcastle consider selling the likes of a Harvey Barnes if it means bringing in an actual right winger to the squad? It's crazy to think, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. But as I say, I think it is key that Newcastle go out and do something this January window. As much as we really held our own on Wednesday night, it was clear that they had some big money to bring on off the bench. And look, we have players to come back. I'm very excited to see Sven Botman back in the squad. The hope is that he'll be in around the start of the new year. I thought Dan Burn really held his own. Look, Dan Burn and Shaw, I think, are fantastic. I think Kelly, without giving too much of a criticism to him, didn't look great. But do you look great when you've kind of just joined the new team, you're getting no minutes on the pitch, and then expecting him to come in and just be brilliant, So maybe that's a bit harsh. I think Botman will really add to that. We're going to talk about Harvey Barnes in a moment, and where his place is in the squad, and was it a transfer move that maybe... Because look, he's scored goals. He's come on and scored goals. Scored goals against West Ham, saved us in that game. He saved us in other games. But it's the right wing. It's the right wing. Newcastle are being linked to the Bournemouth winger, Semenyo, for as much as 60 million. It's mad. That this is the thing we're going to come on to as well, is obviously, Rob, why are we having to sell players when we offered 70 million for Mark Gahey in the window? Is that actually correct? Because that's the other side of the coin with this one. We're going to talk about listening to offers for some of our players in order to progress our squad. Maybe selling players we don't want to. Eddie Howe has already spoken at length. He's done an interview with Simon Jordan, which I do need to listen to. I've not yet. I know Simon Jordan's a bit like Marmite, but when Eddie Howe's in it and he asks some very frank questions, I've already seen the snippet. He said that he was unhappy with the fact that we've sold Elliot Anderson and Yankuba Minter, which isn't new. That isn't news really. We've known that for a while. But again, it's having to sell players to bring players in. Do we have to do that again? Do we actually have to do that this January? Do we actually have to listen to offers for Harvey Barnes? Do we have to listen to offers for Sean Longstaff, Callum Wilson, Almiron? I mean, some of them you could argue that you would want to sell, I would prefer not to sell Barnes. I think selling Barnes is also really admitting defeat. If Newcastle do... That's the thing. What do we do with it? If you told me we are going to sell Harvey Barnes, we're going to get our money back, we're going to get around the 35 million pound that we're paid for him. Again, that player trading, he's come in. That's another way to look at it. I'm jumping around a little bit. It's very early. I haven't had a cup of coffee yet this morning. You could argue that Barnes came in, scored the goals against West Ham, did his job, dug us out of some difficult positions, and we've sold him back for 35 million. Times that by 5, that's 150 million we'd have to spend right now to help Newcastle get Champions League football. We can bring in that right winger that we so desperately need. I thought Murphy did all right on Wednesday night, but he had some big chances. And I would argue that another, maybe, work rate, never going to question. Love for the club, never going to question with Jacob Murphy. But just that higher skill cap, I think would have scored the chances that Murphy had, and how many of them have we had over the years? So, yeah, there you go. Has Harvey Barnes done his job? Has Harvey Barnes done exactly what we needed him to do? And now let's switch it. Let's let him go somewhere else. Let's get the money in. Let's spend the money. That's if we need it. Because again, if we had a 70 million to buy Barkey, do we really need to go to these levels? Because I think Barnes is a good player. Whether it's squad, whether it is bring him on off the bench and be a super sub, I don't mind it. I really don't see why we should sell Barnes. You can talk about signing for the right time. Look, we bought Livramento and Hall didn't play for a season. People were questioning that one. No one's questioning it right now. No one's saying, well, what about Hall now? Everyone knows how good he is. It took some time. Do we need to give... Barnes had a huge time out with injury as well. I think he's clearly a capable player. I think he's very much at the standard that we are right now, and probably escalate. I think the downsides of Barnes are that he gets lost in games. He isn't always there. But do we need that? We need players off the bench. We need players who are going to make an impact. And arguably, he's probably the one player we have on the bench at the moment who can do that. So I appreciate we want to improve our first 11, but I don't know. Honestly, I think that's a really good conversation starter. So I'd love to know your thoughts down in the comments below. Is selling Barnes just a total waste of time? What was the point of bringing him in the first place if we're going to sell him? Is selling him totally admitting defeat? That Newcastle, yes, we absolutely effed it in the previous window when we should have brought a proper right-sided player. We bought Barnes, it didn't work out. Or is it a more casual view? Look, we paid the money, we brought him in. Did a good job. I think we easily sell him for 35 million again. I don't think it's a situation where, oh God, we've got to sell him for a £5 now. I think we'll get our money back. I think we could probably get close to that quite easily. He's a very good player, but he's not what we need right now in that right side. Or is he what we need for a substitute? Yeah, loads of conversations there. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on this window. Do you think it's a load of nonsense? Do you think Newcastle actually have the money? We tried to buy Mark Gahey. If we did that, then surely we've got, 70 million plus to spend this January window. I think really, outside of Barnes, I think we should be looking to sell Wilson. His contract ends. I wouldn't sell Longstaff. He's looking at getting a 1-year extension. I think that's fine. He brings something to the team. I'm happy with that. But what we need is a right winger, and what we need is money to do it. Thoughts and comments down below. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you to these great guys who've been given a bit of a kind of like a picturesque background, wandering around doing a bit of gardening there this very cold morning in Reading. Oh, there's a pigeon in the video as well. Right, thanks for watching. Thoughts on the idea of selling Barnes to bring in a right winger this window down in the comments below. As I say, Brentford tomorrow, fingers crossed. It's a good one. Catch you later.